Hey, what's going on, guys? Hope everyone's doing really well. As normal, it's going to be a different video this week, actually. So straight up, before we get into it, this video is not going to be technical at all. It's also not even catered towards software developers or programming. It's in the same realm, but actually the audience for this video is going to be really different. So video title, it's how to recruit software developers well, and actually got the inspiration for this idea from a good comment in one of the other videos about how to better recruit in the tech field. And so the audience, I would say, for this video is going to be anyone looking to recruit software developers. And actually this kind of translates to anyone who is just curious on how to approach a technical person or understand them a little better. All right, so a little bit of changing it up a little bit here, different audience, but this video is still in the general realm of tech, software, all that stuff. So let's just get straight into it. But how this usually starts when someone is recruiting a software developer, if it's not through a referral, if it's not through like a friend of a friend of a friend, this is also cold emails to potential hires. So, not only are you doing a lot of work to get your job, but actually, since there's just so many companies out there that need developers and there's a huge pool, it's tough to find the people that are going to be good fits, right? So you're not always going to have a nice referral. So many times cold emails are sent out to just potential hires to try to get them interested, all right? So what I did here is I just kind of broke up the email into four major, like, important parts of the email. In my opinion, what I think are four major parts of the email. After we go through this, I have an example good one and an example bad one, and we're just going to talk through that. All right, so first let's just go over these points, and hopefully they're pretty clear, but you'd be surprised at how often like some of these emails just don't include any of this stuff. So number one is going to be a clear, direct, proper introduction about, okay, sorry, I didn't say that really well. A clear, direct, and proper introduction. Do you represent the company directly, or are you associated with a recruiting firm? So some people try to beat around the bush, not be really clear about who they're representing. Just be really proper, clear, and direct with this, all right? Number two is show that you've read my profile and show a reasonable amount of competency. So what I kind of mean here is that first, just make it known that you've read my stuff, and you're not just copy and pasting the interview and sending it out to 20 people. You should actually look at the profiles of each individual person that you're reaching out to, right? Quality over quantity, always. So kind of go beyond the LinkedIn endorse skills. That's easy. And also show a little bit of competency in whatever you're recruiting for. So as the recruiter, you should know what you're recruiting for and then develop some competency around those areas. So let's just do some examples. You're recruiting for front-end developers. You should follow up on the pros and cons of current front-end frameworks. If you're recruiting for iOS mobile developers, figure out what was just released at the latest Apple conference. If you're recruiting for Android developers, figure out what just happened at Google I/O. So it's kind of just doing your homework that's related to what you're representing or what you're recruiting for. And also just showing that you've read my profile, it sets a nice personal tone for the email and it feels good. Okay, number three is going to be brief introduction of the company and role. This is almost table stakes, but again, some recruiters just leave this out in the emails. So the company and role need a proper introduction, and the recruiters have no excuse for not understanding the roles they're hiring for. So I know recruiters kind of represent a lot of companies at the same time, and within those companies even a lot of positions, but you still have to understand exactly what those roles mean, all right? It's not just a Python developer, and we'll get more into that later. So I think the real cherry on top for this section is that if you can link the role, the position, and the person, and if you can make that link, it's actually very special. So it's kind of like, I saw you had experience with Foo, which forced you to gain a lot of skills in Moo, which makes you a really good fit for this position bar. All right, so most people can give the introduction about the role, but if you can make that link between the person and the role, That's kind of like the cherry on top, icing on the cake. So last but not least, last point number 4 is don't rush an ending. So a lot of recruiters seem a little aggressive, or they need an answer, and that shouldn't be the tone when you're ending the email. There should actually be no sense of urgency when the email is ending. So examples, if now is not the right time, maybe we can connect in 6 months, in 3 months, maybe in a year. Let's just keep in touch. If this isn't a good fit for me, would I know any friends that I could refer to see this opportunity? So don't sound so aggressive in the email, and just leave it very calm. All right, don't rush an ending. All right, so those are the 4 major points, and now I just want to get into a couple good examples and bad examples. I have a good sample here. We'll just read through it real quick, and then we'll read through the bad example. All right, so I got this a few years ago. I'm not sure when, but I always kept it as one of the better recruitment emails that I've received. So hope this message finds you well and all is well. Nice warm intro here. I wanted to reach out to you as I came across your background and was intrigued by your technical skills. From what I can tell, you seem to be a very technology agnostic engineer, C++, Python, etc., and seem comfortable working up and down the entire technical stack. Yes, this is good. This person has read my LinkedIn and it shows. Looks like you've even tinkered around with Swift, which is great. So this person actually even went to my GitHub, because at the time I was trying to learn Swift, this language, when Apple first released it, and they like saw my GitHub, saw I made a couple new projects with this language, and they like did research and knew I was messing around with that. I realize you may be loving life at company I used to work at, 8 months strong now, but I wanted to touch base regardless in case you're up to a change, spicing things up a bit. So I really like this sentence because it's not too aggressive, and it's also very positive with my current position. They acknowledge that I'm liking my current job, but if I'm up to something new or spicing things up, I'd be, open to something. So it's not aggressive, and it's really positive. Next, there's a clear introduction to the company. All right, we here at Palantir could use an engineer like yourself, as we are always looking to hire talented folks who are passionate about what they do. Instead of me going into some kind of elevator pitch, here's a Forbes article about us. So again, it's a clear introduction. It's also not very aggressive, and this person is not selling the company so much, right? They just link to an article, and if I want to read about it, I'll just go read about it. They don't have to sell it too hard. Next, this is some cookie cutter stuff. We have multiple openings in our New York City office, Meatpacking, as well as Washington, D.C., Palo Alto, etc. So now let's talk about the ending, which I like. Should you have a few moments, I'd welcome the chance to speak to you further regarding our company, our environment, and the opportunities at hand. Just let me know when you might have a few minutes to talk, and the best number you can be reached at. I look forward to hearing from you soon. So again, this is really not aggressive. Should you have a few moments, there's no sense of urgency at the end of the email, and it just leaves it very calm. So I'll post these notes, but this was definitely one of the better recruitment emails I've received. So that's that. Let's now just go into a not so good example. You can already kind of tell because it's so short. It's definitely kind of like, you can already tell it's a copy and paste type of work, but let's just break it down. All right, so first, there's no warm intro, and some people think, oh, that's just fluffy stuff, but actually, you need a nice intro to these emails, right? It sets the tone, makes people feel good, and you just need it. All right, so no nice intro here. I'm partnered up with some company to help them find a backend engineer for their NYC office. So already the intro is a little unclear. I'm not sure what partnered up really means. Are you like a recruiting firm partnered up with a company, which I'm assuming, or do you have some other affiliation? But it's not exactly clear what this kind of means. They are looking for someone with an interest in music and building a large-scale consumer-facing product. So this is what they're looking for, and that's fine. This is what they're looking for. This team is impressive. They have graduates of MIT, Carnegie Mellon, Brown, Columbia. They've joined from Twitter, LinkedIn, and Tumblr. So overall, this is name dropping, which I think is bullshit. It's a little lame. And still here, it's kind of like this is only talking about what they're looking for. There's been no anything about what I'm looking for or what I've done. There's like zero actually research about me. So it's super obvious here. Even more so, last sentence, I think you could be a fit for this team. Are you open to a call, or is email better to start? So why am I going to be a fit for the team? Just because I'm in the list of your candidates, but again, there's nothing in here that's personal. There's nothing that links me to this position. This name dropping is bullshit, and this is not a very good email. All right, so if you're a recruiter kind of seeing this and you're copying and pasting stuff like this all over the place, just level up and do something like this. All right. All right. Last point I want to make in this rant. Well, going on 11 minutes. All right. So the last point I want to make is how you can kind of identify someone. And the only point I want to make in this is that a software developer is not purely identified by one language. So this is just my personal pet peeve. And some people are probably going to disagree, but many times the only thing a recruiter knows is kind of this. They're like, I need to hire a Python developer, but like, what the F does that really even mean, right? Python is a huge language, has a lot of different use cases, and you just want to hire a Python developer, all right? Like, I bet 99% of developers in the world have used Python at some point in time. So Python is just one skill that is required for this position. But do you really understand the position you're hiring for? If you say something like this, you probably don't understand the position you're hiring for, right? So like, if you could say something like this, it would be a little better. I need to hire a data scientist to analyze a large scientific data set for company foobar. They use Python heavily, as well as modules foo, bar, moo, baz, and goo. So you understand the problem, you understand the technologies they currently use, and that's why you need someone that has Python skills. All right, so again, just to reiterate this, but understand at the core the position you're hiring for. All right, if you're a part of the company, this should be a no-brainer. You should understand what you're hiring for. If you're a recruitment firm, you have to get as much info as you can about the positions from the companies that you represent. All right, so what style of development is this? Understand the roles: web, enterprise, mobile, systems, distributed, all that stuff. Also, just go watch my 13 types of software developers video. That should help a little bit. And also just understand the raw skills you need to recruit for. All right, don't just say, I need to recruit for a Python developer. You should understand that one of the skills you need is the programmatic skill of Python, the language, but you might also need maybe knowledge for specific frameworks, specific libraries. So I'm looking for someone that knows Python, that has experience with the Django web framework, and also has experience with the SQL Alchemy module, and we run it on an Angular front end. So if you know any of these technologies, you're going to be a good fit. And what is this? This is extra. So I guess what I'm trying to just say in this whole point here is that you can't just identify a software developer so simply by just identifying them by one language. Like, this statement just represents that you don't understand the position you're really hiring for. And that's, I guess, if you're a recruiter or anyone that's kind of if you're trying to reach out to software developers, if you can only say this about what you need, you just don't quite understand exactly what you need yet. So this part is just how to identify someone and make sure you can speak to it much more than just a sentence like this. All right. So again, I'll share this doc with everyone. The audience for this video wasn't exactly for software developers, but hopefully if you're in these two categories, like looking to recruit or just looking to kind of empathize or approach a technical person, hopefully some of these things could be a little helpful. But all right, so hopefully that wasn't too different in the same realm, but obviously this might not be so helpful for aspiring programmer. But if you're actually a programmer or software developer reading these videos, if people approach you in a good way, you should respect that person, right? And if a person approaches you in a kind of a BS way, like a copy and paste way, then you know that particular opportunity is probably not as good. All right, so hope this video was helpful. Hope everyone has a great rest of the week, and take care.